Hello and welcome to 3.8, so Unit 3, Section 8. So this is going to be mainly review from last year, but I assume that you probably don't remember a lot of the stuff. So we're going to be doing a little bit of reflection, translation, and then seeing if we can figure out, like when we get to here, we have to figure out what type of transformation was done. So first, just a little review. Rigid motion is something you're going to want to know the definition of. When I say rigid motion, that just means, and write this down somewhere on your notes, the shape does not change size. So when we have rigid motion, we're just moving something. So if I have this triangle here, if I rotate it, it's still going to stay the same. It might look different, but it's still going to stay the same size, same shape. So that's what rigid motion means. So over here, and this is not on your notes, it's just a little review. If we have to reflect these points over the line y equals 1, first thing I'm going to do is draw the line y equals 1. So that would be this line right here. Anytime we have y equals a number, it's a horizontal line. So I'm going to graph those points. So -3, -4. So I go left 3, down 4. And then 0, -1 would be right here, and 2, -3, so right 2, down 3. So if at any point I'm going too fast, please pause the video. So we got A, B, and C. So now I'm going to reflect over that red line. I'll make the new points blue. So to reflect over this red line, I'm going to start with point B. So how far away, what distance is this point away from the red line? Well, it's 1, 2. So that means the new point has to be 2 above. So this was 2 below, this one's going to be 2 above. So 1, 2. This point is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 below the red line, so the next one's going to be 5 above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhere up there. C is 1, 2, 3, 4, so I go 4 above. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how you reflect. So A prime, B prime, and C prime. So the prime just means we have done some type of transformation. All right, so on the next one, we're going to reflect over the line x equals 2. So x equals 2 is the vertical line at where x equals 2. So we're going to use the same points. So -3, -4. 0, -1, and then 2, -3. That's point C. So now I'm going to reflect over the red line again. So I'll start with B. It doesn't really matter which one you start with. B is 2 to the left of this red line, so that means the new one's going to be 2 to the right. A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left, so I have to go 5 right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that'll be somewhere over here. C is 0, it's because it's on the line, so it's going to just stay on the line. So B prime, C prime, and A prime. So that's how you reflect over different lines. Rotations, I'm just going to write the rules here real quick. So if you're rotating 90 degrees, we start with our x comma y. We have to switch the order of the two and change the sign of the y, or the new x. When we rotate 180 degrees, they stay in the same spots, but we change the sign of both. And when we rotate 270, again, we switch the order, but this time the second one will change its sign. So for example, if I had 1, 5 and I rotated 90 degrees, it becomes -5, +1. I switch the order, then change the sign of the first one. If I rotate this point 180 degrees, it just becomes -1, -5. It stays in the same spot, but the signs of both change. 270, it become 5, -1. So that's rotations. So now moving on to the main thing that we're going to have to do. So when we are trying to figure out what type of transformation was done, we look at the slopes of the lines, or at least one of the corresponding lines. So if the slopes are the same, that means it was a translation. If the slopes are opposite, that means it's a reflection. And if the slopes are opposite reciprocals, that means it's a rotation of 90 or 270 degrees. If it's a 180 degree rotation, they will have the same slope. So the slopes are the same as the translation, but if the shape looks like it's turned, then it's a 180 degree rotation. So let's do an example of one of these. So if I do example 2 here, and I want to know, how do we go from CDE, so how do we go from this blue triangle to this one over here? So what type of transformation do we do? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the diagonal lines. So I'll take this line and find its slope. And then I'll find this line, slope as well. So PM has a slope of, so remember M stands for slope. So I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 divided by, and then I go right, 1, 2. 4 divided by 2, if I reduce that, it becomes 2. So the slope is 2, positive 2. If I find the slope of CE here, so we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and left 2. So I up 4, left 2. So 4 divided by -2 is a -2. So notice they have almost the same slope, but they have opposite signs. So these are opposite slopes, which means there was a reflection, because slopes are opposite. So now I got to figure out which axis they reflected it over. So if I flip this one over the x-axis, will it be the same shape as this? So I do a little reflection real quick. Now notice these two are the same shape, so that means they reflected over the x-axis. But my goal is to get this shape to fit right in this spot, so I still need to move it over. Even now it's the same shape, so I can just move it. So if I look at the farthest right point, I need to put that where P is. So how far right do I need to move that? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So translate right 5. So I'll do one more example of this. So example 5 here. So we start with K and O. So our first one is this one right here, this green one. And we're going to have to figure out how to get that to the purple one. So it's kind of like I'm playing with this block, this green block here, and I want to fit it exactly into where the purple one is. So the green one, I can take any side, it doesn't matter, I'll just take ON and figure out the slope. So if I start at the bottom, I go up 1, 2, 3. Then I go left 1, 2, 3. So left is negative. So 3 divided by -3 is a -1. So the slope of ON is -1. So now I have to figure out which side is corresponding to ON. So ON were the last two letters. The last two letters here are NW, so I'm going to use NW. So if I find the slope of NW, I go up 1, 2, 3, left 1, 2, 3. So up 3, left 3. Again, we get -1. So we have the same slope. So that means there was either just a translation, so either we just slide it over, or it's a 180-degree rotation. Because remember up here, same slope is either 180-degree rotation or translation. If it's just a translation, that means I can just slide this right into here. But if I slide that over, it's not going to fit because the straight part is on the left and the straight part's on the right. So if I just slide it over, it won't fit. So that means it has to be a rotation. So it's going to be a 180-degree rotation. You can say counterclockwise. All our rotations will always be counterclockwise. So after we rotate it 180 degrees, so let me make this each axis a little bit more clear here. So n is at 0, -1. If I rotate that 180 degrees, it becomes 0, +1. 0, O is at -3, +2. If I rotate that 180 degrees, I get +3, -2. So we're at 3, down 2. And then K is at -4, -4. If I rotate that 180 degrees, I get +4, +4. So after rotating 180 degrees, your shape will look like this. So now it should be facing the same way as this purple one. So now you just got to figure out where to slide it to. So if I take this rightmost point, I need to get it to right here. So I need to go to the right, 1, 2. So right 2 and down 2. And that's it. That's our answer. So that's going to be it for the notes.